2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 12. And Yahuwah appeared unto Solomon by night, and said unto him, I have heard your prayers, and have chosen this place to myself for a house of sacrifice. If I shut up heaven, that there shall be no rain, or if I command the locusts to eat the land, or if I send a disease amongst my people, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their lands. Now my eyes shall be opened and my ears shall attend unto the prayer that is made in this place. Hallelujah. Shalom, YASHAR'EL, Elder DFG. Hey, my brothers and sisters. You know, I wanted to just take some time and share this message with each and every one of you. As you can see, I'm not in the mall. Not going to be in the mall for a moment. Yahuwah is moving and shifting, and maybe not, my assignment there has been completed. And I think that completion, just to give a quick little synopsis of it, was to get me accustomed to the ever-changing environment. As you know, I spent many years in corporate America, and so people, diversity, interacting with crowds, you know, and things of that nature was a part of my journey. And then when I left corporate America, I can call it retired, even though I wasn't at the full retirement age when I left. I had put in enough time to be considered retired, which now, of course, you know, is complete. But he wanted me to be exposed again to that type of traffic, but this time, you know, teaching his word versus teaching, you know, corporate policies and procedures and processes. And I like to say that, you know, I passed that test. I feel confident that I passed the test because he would not have reassigned me to something different now. So we'll see where that goes as relates to the teaching and the places of the teaching, not the teaching. The teaching is going to be here till Yahuwah comes. I'm not going anywhere. And by the blessings of some of you out there, you know, it's allowed me not to have to go, you know what I'm saying, re-engage, you know, corporate America, you know, to be able to sustain myself. You are sustaining me with the, you know, with your help and support. And obviously Yahuwah is filling in the gaps and blessing those of you who do. And it means a whole lot to him, and it definitely means a whole lot to me. So that being said, I just wanted to clear that part up. But back to where I just mentioned a moment ago, you know, it's Yahuwah, you know, using King Solomon, you know, to embrace us as a people and to show his concern and his compassion for us. Because far too often, you know, we have this image of the Creator that's just not true. Many of us, not all of you, but many of us have that image of this Creator who's passive aggressive, Creator that pretty much, you know, is so blended into with everyday life. No one ever stops to recognize that he is the conductor of life. As he said here, Solomon said, if Yahuwah said, if I wanted to cause a famine on the land, you know, I could do that. He said, if I wanted to plague all of y'all with diseases, you know, I could do that. He said, quite frankly, if I wanted to take, you know, and create, you know, a situation where the heavens break apart, you know, and flush this whole earth, you know, with a fiery storm. He said, one day I'll do that, but I haven't done it yet. But I could do that, you know, as well. He said, but all of that being considered, the question come back down not to what I want to do. He said, what do you want from me? He's talking about Israel. And this is why he told Solomon, he said, look, say, if my people who are called by my name, who really claim and profess to love me completely with all your heart, all of your strength, and all of your mind. He said, if you really meant that, you wouldn't be back and forth. You wouldn't be staggering like a drunkard all over the place. Where am I? Where do I live? He said, no, you would be focused, and you would be dedicated, and you would be committed, and you would recognize that the power that he has been made available to us, but that availability comes with a price. He said, that comes with a price, brothers and sisters. He said, you're not getting it for nothing. That's Christianity. He said, no, you're going to humble yourself. You're going to pray. You're going to seek my face. You're going to turn from your wicked ways. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right in a row. Succinctly. He said, if you can't do that, you can't go that way, then you go that way. Or better, that way. He said, go to hell. Because that's where you're going to end up at. He said, but by chance, if you know what I'm saying, have a pure heart for me and a desire to see my strength in your life, he said, well, then you will humble yourself. You will pray. You will seek my face. And the way you do that is by turning away from your wickedness, turning away from the temptations of life. I talked about it on a Shabbat message. All these habits that we gravitate to, all these habits that we can't seem to break away from because we think that those things are the essence of life. Because we've been seduced into that over the decades, you know what I'm saying? The millenniums, depending on, the centuries, depending on where one is and what information that you source to be your resource. Which if you have the wisdom that Yahuwah gives us, that resource comes right back down to the book. You're not looking here and there. You're not looking everywhere. You're focused. You're single-minded. You say, no, I know where Yahuwah is. I know where he reigns, and I know he's supreme. And I know, he has a place card with my name sitting on it if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That place card will say, come into here. I've got something for you. I'm going to bless you not only here, but you wait. Just wait a minute. He said, you wait to see what I have for you, that I have prepared for you. And a lot of our brothers and sisters, a lot of you out there, you know about that, and you confess it, and you sometimes maybe daydream about it. But see, if you ever take the time and break it down in your heart and talk about surrender totally to Abba Yahuwah, I guarantee you all that stuff will go away. You will become one in terms of relationship. It would really start to become something that you strive to not only embrace, but that you also, strive to, to let it replace the old you as you walk in the newness of you. And you never get that there. The world never going to see that. Many of you not going to see it. You might talk about it, but you're never going to see that because you're still holding on to old you. So you can't see it. That's why he said, if my people who are called by my name will turn from their wicked ways. In other words, he said, then. And so turn from means a return, means a restoration. First of all, it means the letting go, a separation. I think we all should have to ask yourself, or you should ask yourself, and you all should have already asked yourself, what is it that's different from the old me? Not the old me. Forget the old me. I recant that. What is it different about me compared to the way I was a month ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? And nobody want to hear your bullshit talking about you've been serving Yahuwah for 20 years. You're in following your foolishness. I guarantee you ain't been serving Yahuwah completely in 20 years because the revelation and understanding of his strength and what he's doing in these last days was not available. So cut it out. You might have known you were Israel. You might have known the name of Yahuwah. You might have been keeping this Torah. But you were definitely not walking in the knowledge and in the strength in these last days and being able to avoid all these snares and traps. And again, there's total disciplines that come with that. Means you got rid of all of the old you. The old you killed it. I'm talking about the normal you, the you. And some of you, if you will be honest and admit it, whether it was 20 years ago, 10 years ago, or a week ago, if you were being honest with yourself, you know good and so well you haven't changed that way. You still have your biases. You're still holding on. I've had several conversations with people, indirectly, some directly. Some said things, did not know I caught what they said, but I caught what they said. And most of it was, what about me? What about me and what I'm going to accept? Well, you're full of shit. You're going to accept what Yahuwah gives you, whether you like it or not, homie. Brother, sister. I'm just saying homie because you sound like a clown with that foolishness. That's ignorance talking. You think Yah is interested in you telling him, I'll serve you, but I'll serve you under these circumstances? You really believe that foolishness? You really believe that Yahuwah say, well, you ain't got to give me everything. Just give me what you want to give me. And I'm so hard up. I'm so desperate. I'll take whatever you give me. No, that's your mammy, your pappy. That old nigga you ran the streets with, that old whore you slept with. That's who that is talking like that. That's their idea of the Creator. That's not Yahuwah. Yahuwah doesn't roll that way. Elohim, Yahuwah has a standard. That's why he said when the enemy comes in like a flood, Elohim said, I'm going to lift the standard up. But that standard is only for those who are willing to totally erase, you know what I'm saying, that mental that defines who they are. See, that mental ain't going to get it in the kingdom of heaven. He said it's going to be a renewed heaven, and a renewed earth means it's going to be a renewed people who's going to embrace that, and who's going to benefit and, you know, inhabit that. Not your old youth. That ain't coming. It's not allowed. And that needs to be discussed. That needs to be clarified. There needs to be a clear understanding who is expecting from you and what he's not going to accept from you. And this is why he said, my people who are called by my name, if they would humble themselves and pray. Humble yourself means you let that stuff go. You don't get caught up in, you know, the old, you know, I keep using the term old you. It's really you. Ain't no old about it. It's just you. You don't try to bring that unclean you and try to take and embrace the renewed, supposed to be you, which isn't, because you won't let that go. But you have allowed yourself to be seduced into just saying that, you know, this creator Almighty who is everywhere, sees all things, somehow or another doesn't see you being clever with him. I'm just telling you, you know, you're only fooling yourself. You're not fooling him. And no, he's not going to change the story, sister, because you got your, you know, you struggling with, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is you struggling with, or even worse, you got this standard that somebody's supposed to meet. Who's supposed to meet the standard you have? I thought the standard was Elohim's standard. I didn't know you had a standard and he had a standard, and those two standards were supposed to merge. I don't recall that in this book. Brother, same thing. So you see, you're conflating and you're trying to mix evil with good and light with dark and bitter with sweet, and you're going to end up defeated, broke down, busted, burning in hell. Because that man in the mirror that you claim is righteous is wicked. That's why in the Shabbat message yesterday, I showed the image. There were two people in that mirror. You go look in the mirror, there's two. There's one in that mirror, and then there's the one that's looking in that mirror. And I'm going to tell you something. The one that you're looking at better be the same one you profess to be. And it had better be that way. 100% down. 10 toes down, as they say. Or again, you're going to be burning in hell, period. It ain't got nothing to do with no religion. Ain't got nothing to do with no organization. Ain't got nothing to do with no gender. Agenda. It has nothing to do with any of that. If you can't totally give it up, then you won't get anything from him. You know, the worst lie a man and woman can believe is the lie that they tell themselves. And many in Israel telling yourself lies because you say you changed, but you haven't changed. You're the same old person, you know, putting, like you say, you done fix yourself up on the outside, you know what I'm saying, but your inside is filthy. And you know you haven't changed. You still got the same biases. Same, you know, prejudices. I'm not talking about racism. I'm talking about prejudice about what you will and will not do. That's what I'm talking about. Like Yahuwah won't try you. He tried Abraham. Many of our forefathers were tried. Most of them failed the test. Y'all know the names: Saul, Ahab, many others. Nathan, Abiram, Dothan, Miriam, Aaron, Sarah. Many of them failed. They lost. Yahuwah destroyed them. He put a test before them, and they decided that they were going to do what they wanted to do, in spite of. Sarah said, well, y'all, you know, Sarah and Joshua, Sarah was, oh, I love you. I'm going to do whatever you say. Husband, son, whatever y'all will is, let's get it done. I'm all in. And as soon as a few minutes passed, Sarah had recalled back to her old self. Oh, where is my poor Isaac been? Oh, where can he be? Oh, his daddy is trying to deceive me. And then Satan walked in there and had our ass all mixed up. Yeah. Just like that. had gotten the truth, had gotten the direction. All she had to do was be obedient and be submissive to her husband. That's all she had to do, brothers and sisters. But she just couldn't toe the line. That selfishness jumped in there. And it had to be based off of what she wanted, how she felt about it. Even though she said she didn't feel that way, that she wasn't that way anymore. All it took was a small piece of challenge. And there she went tumbling back to her old self, like many of you are doing. And nobody will confront you with it, and you won't confront yourself. So what happens next? You won't deal with it. Nobody will deal with you in dealing with it. So what's going to happen? I know what's going to happen. Ain't going to be any change. So you're not going to be forgiven. God's not going to hear your prayers. He's not going to fix anything for you. You'll keep on fixing the things you won't fix, at least attempting to. Failing forward. Going to fail forward. No, I'm progressing. No, you're not. You're just failing forward. You're stumbling forward. And you're calling that progress. Well, sooner or later, your face going to hit that ground. And then reality going to hit you. You know what I'm saying? Right in the ass. And then you're going to realize that you should have listened. You should have taken some time and assess, reassess, and then put the truth, you know what I'm saying, the focus. Your change should be guiding you, not your you guiding the change. Again, let me say it again. It's your change that should be guiding you, not you guiding the change. Because when you guide the change, then you manipulate it. So you become conditional convert. You're a conditional convert. If it doesn't cause your stress, doesn't cause pressure for you, doesn't cause you to have to give up something, then you're good. But that's a stench before Yahuwah. You can't bring to him unclean things. We learned about that with Aaron's 2 sons. You guys recall? They went into the temple of Yahuwah and brought in, so we can just give him this fire. Fire is fire. What does it matter? You know, we can light the incense. Hey, we're here. We're doing something better than nothing, right? What happened to Aaron's 2 sons? Yahuwah killed both of them. So you're not going to give me what you want to give me. You're going to give me what I said, or I don't want none of you, or nothing to do with you. And this is where many of our brothers and sisters, some of you fail to get it. Elder, this prophet Watchman constantly pouring into you, telling you Yahuwah does not compromise. You're going to either do what he says, and you're going to pay the price. Brother, you're going to do what he said, or you're going to be in that dirt. Sister, you're going to do what he said, or you're going to be on that dirt and in the whore line. And I'm not talking about prostitute. I'm talking about begging for somebody to take your ass out of the dreariness that you're going to be in. And this goes for the so-called stranger too. I know you think you clever, you think you slick, you think you can tempt the Most High, you know what I'm saying, by showing up. That ain't going to work. That is not going to work, idiot. That's called ignorance. Please, you are not a righteous stranger. If you think for 1 second your white privilege gets you a ticket, like your white privilege has gotten you tickets, you know, on this earth. That's the one time your little white, you know, oh, I'm a victim, I'm a stranded, I'm a damsel in distress. It's going to be the one time you're going to find out y'all going to throw a bolt of lightning at your wicked ass woman. You're going to be a damsel in distress, all right, on fire. See the game people play with one another? They're forgetting that Yahuwah is not a man. Hell, he's not the son of a man either. He doesn't play. The games you play with people. Yahuwah has a standard. And it's a high standard. And that standard is 100% dedicated, committed obedience. And if that's way too much for you to do, you holding on to something about what you wouldn't do, then fine. Then salvation isn't for you. Redemption isn't for you. Because obviously you're saying you don't need to be redeemed. You don't need to be saved, right? Because you already got what you want. As far as you're concerned, but really what you want is as they were saying, you want your cake and eat it too. You ain't going to make that necessary move, but you will, engage. So it's like engaging, standing still. I ain't gonna change, but but I'm gonna reach out. As long as I can grab, then I'm gonna just grab that and, and be good. Well, again, it doesn't work that way. Hosea was talking about that. That's what Hosea was meaning, brothers and sisters, when he said there's a way that seems right to a man. So he said that you're going to sit there and think that you can do this because you have some kind of value system that says what you will or will not do. Well, who is the creator? You are the creator. I'm just asking. And you can't come project, well, no, I'm this kind of person. Y'all don't give a rat's ass what kind of person you think you are. Hell, David said I was born in sin, shaped in iniquity. Did he not? He said, well, my environment influences me. He said, I'm a product of that environment. So how are you not? Well, because I'm not the way my parents were. What does that got to do with anything? A product environment means that you think that you can do whatever you want to do, or you can say no just because you feel that some kind of way about something. That is a product of a man's environment. Is that not what we studied in the book of Jasher? Remember when Satan went before Yahuwah? He said, these people they just want to use you. They love you when you're doing something for them, but if you ask them to do something beyond, they're not going to do it. Then that's where that love starts. They're going to get what they want from you, then they're going right back to their own ways. Oh, but they're trying to pimp you. That's what Satan told Yahuwah. Said, the men trying to peace it, all of them. That's why Yahuwah said, wait a minute, before you go to this all stuff, what about Abraham? And Satan said, well, what about him? Yahuwah said, well, he ain't everybody. Then Abraham said, Yahuwah said to Satan, go try him and see. And y'all know the rest of it. You can read about that in Joshua chapter 23. The conversation starts in Joshua 22. Y'all know the story of Genesis, but it's a half story, all kind of detail left out of the book of Genesis. If you really want to understand that story, you got to go dig a little deeper than that, brothers and sisters. You got to do the expanse of it, see what happened. Actually happened. Not a summary of the story. This is how it went down. And you see clearly, Satan came up to Abraham, called him brutish. Said, you are a brutish man. You are rude and crude. And Satan said, I see you, Satan. Get out of here. Don't be talking shit about me to me. So I ain't hearing that foolishness. Since that and where he went to, his son. This is how enemy works. If he can't get you, he's going to go to your mom, your dad, somebody else. Have them come at you. So he goes to Isaac. Then Isaac comes at him and said, Dad, they got this young man, good-looking man, because he went to Abraham. He was an older man. Figured that would influence him age. See, the righteous of us, we don't get caught in ageism. We don't give a shit about no age. We know better than that. Elohim is ageless, and so are we. He said in the world to come, a child going to live to be 100 years old. So what age has to do with anything? Only a punk and a sucker and a fool get sucked up into your age. Adults don't get caught up in child play. That's for children. But the enemy is very clever. He knows how to play on your sensitivities, on your imagery. So he becomes this image. So he goes to Isaac as a young, good-looking man. Isaac doesn't know what to make of it. All he knows, this guy is telling him not to trust his father for some reason. Oh, he's an old fool. I said, not my dad. He said, you don't know my dad, because you know my dad, the last thing you would call him is an old fool. Ain't nothing old about him, and damn sure ain't nothing foolish about him. As a matter of fact, if you knew who you were dealing with, you'd understand if he declared war on you, you would not survive. My father is a warrior. You can read about that. Abraham and 70 men conquered 5 kings, kicked their asses. And he wasn't no young pup when it happened. He was a mature man. I don't get anybody call you, you're a mature man or a mature fool. But age don't have nothing to do with one's abilities. Period. Not before Yahuwah. But again, these are the game people play. So he did old game, young game. Young game, he looked just like a young man, good-looking young man. Comes at Isaac. Isaac say, well, let me go check this out. I hear what you're saying, but let me go validate this. I'm not just going to stop because you got an opinion, young man. He said, I know old fools, but I damn sure know a whole lot of young ones too. So let me go check this out. So when we go to his father, he said, Dad, you got this young dude over here talking about you going to kill me. What's up with that? Abraham said, well, first of all, that's probably Satan talking to you. But he got many faces, many shapes. Sometimes he looked like family. Sometimes he looked like somebody else. He said, but the answer is, yeah, I am going to kill you. But second, it is Satan talking to you. So you're going to have to make a decision. You're going to trust me or you're going to trust what you hear? I said, Dad, you out of your mind. I said, now can you kill me for Yahuwah? You can make sure. I want you to do it with strength and conviction, Dad. You're like, I don't give a damn what nobody got to say about you. If Yahuwah tell you to do it, then guess what? He tell you to do it to me, tell you to tell me what he want me to do, I'm doing it. I don't give a damn what nobody says. That was Isaac's attitude, brothers and sisters. That's what Isaac said. I'm in. You do it. Let's go. Let's roll. Come on. Abraham looked at me like, my boy. And then later on, y'all know how that story, evolved. Long story short, Isaac, was strong enough to say, nah, that's Satan. It's foolishness. Sarah was weak enough, because Sarah still wanted to hold on to old Sarah and still say, I trust him. Ain't going to work. You can't hold on to yourself and trust God. Trust Yahuwah, I'm sorry. See, Abraham was her covering, her master, which under the structure of Yahuwah, that is her, little e, master, Elohim, or Lord, whatever word you want to use. Don't get stuck on the word, get stuck on the authority. He gave her a commandment, she broke that commandment, she died. Talk about Abraham. Yah gives you a commandment, you break that commandment, you're going to die. The book says, soul that sinneth, it shall die. That's Ezekiel 18:4. 3 and 4. And this is what 2 Chronicles 7 and 14 is talking about. This, this double-mindedness. He said, look, you're going to have to be totally in or you're not in at all. Again, my people who are called by my name, if you're going to humble yourself, then you can pray and seek my face. If you're going to humble yourself. Means put away the old you or the used to be you or the current you. He said, then I will hear you from heaven. Then I will forgive your sins. And then I will heal your land. And that is no compromising in that. That is an exact, concise, precise statement. Can't get that confused. Easy to be understood, hard to be obeyed. By many. Not everybody, but by many. So you better ask yourself, how are you rolling before Yahuwah? Are you rolling with you or are you rolling with Yahuwah? And if you're rolling with Yahuwah, you keeping this word and you're going to be under authority. You're not going to come and talk about conditionally. I'm only going to have. You ain't going to have a damn thing. You can want all you want. You're going to have hell as your destiny. You can't serve two masters. You can't serve yourself and Yahuwah. But many of you think you can. And that's going to be the death of you. That's going to be your destruction. That's going to be your desolation. That's going to be why Yahuwah is going to come and reprove you, force you into a situation that you claim you would never do. He's going to force you to do it. Like when the book references all those curses in Deuteronomy 20, he didn't say you're going to have an option. He said, no, I'm going to put it on you. So you ain't going to give it escape nothing. He said, if I want to give you disease, I'm giving you the disease. If I want to create starvation, I'm creating starvation. You know what Solomon said? What he says? If I want the locusts to eat all the food, which means famine, he said it's going to be a famine. If I don't want it to rain, he said it ain't going to be no rain. You know what I'm saying? If I want to send pestilence, I'm sending diseases. He said, ain't nothing y'all can do about that. He said, I'll do it if I want to do it. But it don't have to be that way. You decide. It says each man's decision, one man's decision. If you're going to obey or you're not going to obey. Not you, him. Or you're going to obey him. Not how you feel, how you think, what you believe. Him. And if it's not good enough for you, then you're not good enough for him, Yahuwah. So deal with that reality. Stop playing these little games. Stop lying to yourself. As I was saying out in the world, you're pissing in the wind blowing the piss back on you, and you're like, well, I keep getting wet. Where the rain coming from? You can call it y'all talking to you all you want, but it ain't him. You can say Yahuah's blessing you, but no, he is. He don't go against his own word. He said humble means surrender. And then let him call the shots, not you. And I'll tell you, 9/10 of you can't do it. You're not going to do it. You're incapable of doing it. And you reject the idea of having to do it. Like somehow or another, that's going to change something. Like somehow or another, you could do what you want to do, believe what you want to believe, hold on to what you want to hold on to. And somehow or another, Yahuwah has to just suffer you. He knows how I am. Been knowing how you were. Where is that guiding you? Come on, let's go a little deeper into this teaching here. Hope you've already learned something. Maybe one or two of you, most of you, you ain't going to learn nothing because you don't even like the idea that I would even talk about something like this. I know how you roll. I'm not fooled. The book of Ezekiel chapter 20. It says, it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of that month, that certain of the elders of YASHAR'EL came to inquire of Yahuwah, and he sat before me. The elders, let me say, instead of, playing these little ageism game, why don't you just say they're elder? They've been around longer. They're more experienced in life. How the hell are they a threat? That's foolishness. It's ignorance. Verse 2, it says, and then came the word of Yahuwah to me, saying, son of Adam, talking to Ezekiel, he said, speak unto the elders of Israel, and say unto them, thus says Yahuwah, are you come to inquire of me? As I live, I will not be inquired by you. Will you judge them, son of Adam? Will you judge them? You know what he's saying? He's telling Ezekiel, are you judging these people for coming before me? See, you can read into this and read incorrectly into this, except you step back and study. That's why David said, I meditate upon that word, because that word, evolves, brothers and sisters. It becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. It's like starting off almost like driving in a fog, you know what I'm saying? But when that fog starts to lift, you still can drive, but when that fog starts to lift, your vision becomes better. Your vision becomes more depth. You have more depth to your vision. That's why you constantly study this word. The word don't change, but sometimes the situation does. And you have to be aware of that, or you'll be roadkill. Remember that teaching? So he's saying to Ezekiel, you should be judging these people. He said, will you judge these people? Will you tell these people that I don't want to hear nothing from them until they become obedient unto what you are saying to them? What you are saying, Ezekiel. See, that's what most of our brothers said. How you say? Cut and split. I ain't listening to no man. I know you not. But you will regret not listening. He goes on to say, will you judge them, son of Adam? Will you judge them? Cause them to know the abominations of their fathers. So let them know the shit you up to, that's been done before. It didn't work for them and it ain't working for you. Y'all remember Vashti? What did the king tell Vashti? I'm going to find somebody better than you, woman. All her beauty, all her glamour, all her influence meant absolutely nothing. In a moment of time was all taken away. Playing games with the Creator. What you not going to do. That's what the whole thing was. She told the man, no, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. I don't care what he said. Well, she found out the hard way. She should have listened. The story ends with Esther taking over that spot. And Esther was damn sure obedient, because when Malachi told her to go do it, she said, if I got to die to do what you tell me to do, Malachi, I'm going to do it. You ain't going to have no resistance from me. I understand. I understand. You're the one in charge. I'm here to help. Look at Ezekiel 20, verse 5. It says, and unto them thus says Yahuwah, in the day when I chose YASHAR'EL, and I lifted up my hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt, when I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am Yahuwah. And in that day I lifted up my hand unto them to bring them forth from the land of bondage, Egypt, and the land that I had spied out for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all the lands. Then said I unto them, cast you away every man the abomination of his eyes. That means your selfishness, your way of doing things. He said, cast that away, put that away. He said, put everything away from your eyes. Don't defile yourself with the idols of Egypt, the things you learned from your past. Say, let it go. He said, I am Yahuwah. He said, don't defile yourself with your idols. He said, cast it away. Your idols is everything that you were believing before you came into this truth. So don't you bring that garbage into this truth. He said, cast it behind you. Get away from it. Separate it from it. He said, but stood of them listening. He said, but they rebelled against me and would not listen unto me. They did not every man cast away the abomination of their own eyes. Neither did forsake the idols of Egypt or their bondage. And they're talking about all these things that got you into the situation you're in, that made you turn to Yahuwah, but now you still want to bring those things to Yahuwah. Bring him in front of his presence. He said it ain't going to work. He goes on to say, but they did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes. Neither did they forsake the idols of the past. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the land of Egypt. But I brought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, in whose sight, I made myself known to them and bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. He's saying, here it is, I'm still working on their behalf, told them to leave that stuff alone, but they will not. They refuse to, although I am showing myself strong in their life. The obvious change is right before them, but they will not reach out and take my hand. That's what he's saying. And that's many of you. You're still trying to hold on to what you're holding on to, and at the same time saying, oh no, now I want the truth. But you can't let go of the past. You can't be humble. Because that's what humility looks like. Nah, that shit didn't work. I'm done with that. And this is what he tells Ezekiel. Don't you suffer them fools. He said, don't you suffer the fools. He said, they got eyes to hear, eyes to see, but can't see, ears to hear, but they don't. He said, don't you dare suffer them. He said, separate, break the yoke, break the band, break the chain, pop the loop, whatever. Because I'm going to pop the whip on them. Fiery whip. He said, wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt, bondage, and brought them into the wilderness, place of restoration. They couldn't handle it though. And I gave them my statutes and showed them my judgments, which if any man, if he had did those things, he would prosper. He would benefit from it. Then he goes on to say this, moreover also I gave them the Shabbat to be a sign between me and them, that they may know that I am Yahuwah, that sanctified them. But they blew off the Shabbat, picking up sticks, one man. Yah said, do no work, he over there picking up sticks. And then they had the audacity to go to Moses. What should we do to him? Moses looked at it. What do you mean, what should we do to him? Kill him. What does the law say? When Moses looked at Yahuwah, Yahuwah looked at Moses, I wish you would. So don't you dare give him mercy. He said, but the house of YASHAR'EL rebelled against me in the wilderness. And they walked not in my statutes, meaning they did what they wanted to do, like many of you, in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, but they despised my judgments. In other words, they say, which if a man do, he shall live, or he shall be blessed in them. And my Shabbat, they greatly polluted. Then said, I would pour out, then I said, I'll pour out my fury upon them in that wilderness, and I will consume them there. He said, none of them over 20 would get out of there, except for Joshua and Caleb. 14, he said, I brought, and there were millions that went there. He said, I was wroth for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in the sight of whom I brought them out. Yahuwah said, nah, you're Israel. You're going to act like Israel, or I'm going to throw you behind to the dogs. So you're not going to embarrass me. Like a mom, with a child, saying it's out of order in public. She grab him on the side, take that little comb and spank that butt. So you ain't going to embarrass me out here. You act like you're supposed to act, and we're going to be good. But you start to show out, then I'm going to knock you out. Some of us have been around a minute, we know what that's all about. Children don't rule us, we rule them. That's a curse for your child to rule over you. You'll read that in Ezekiel chapter 3, Isaiah chapter 3, verse 10. It talks about it. It's a backwards people. Verse 15, and yet I lifted up my hands unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all the lands. Yahuwah says, since you rejected me, Yahuwah said, I'm going to reject you. You want to do it your way, honey? Then have it your way. But you ain't going to like it. Because they despised my judgment and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Shabbat, for their heart went after their own idols. Their heart went after themselves, the things they wanted to do, but still professed to love Yahuwah. Isaiah talked about it. Elijah talked about it in the book of First Kings 18 and 21. How long y'all gonna be between two opinions? Enoch talked about Enoch 97 and 4:5. He said, don't trust a double-minded man. Verse 16, he said, because they despise my judgments and walk not into my statutes. And these people say, I don't despise. If you don't keep these commandments, you despise him. If you're over there reading and studying in the New Testament, you despise him. Because there's no such thing for YASHAR'EL, a New Testament. Yah didn't give it. He said the covenant, his Torah is forever. There was no new Torah, no new covenant. That is nothing but false doctrine. If you choose to believe it, believe it. But you're going to burn in hell because you should have listened. He said, but they still went after their own idols. Their way, their Christian way, Buddhist way, Hindu way, Muslim way, whatever way, selfish way. I don't do way. I'm not going to do way, all your ways. 17, nevertheless, my eyes spared them from destroying them. Neither did I make the end of them in that wilderness. He said, I saved a few. But I said unto the children in the wilderness, walk you not in the statutes of your fathers. Have you not learned anything, is what he's saying? You haven't looked at our history, brothers and sisters, and see all the failures that are going on around us, our family members, friends, strangers? You haven't noticed we're losing? I'm talking about as a nation. I'm not talking about collective. They're individuals, but collectively we're losing. The ones who are winning, you know what I'm saying, they're the ones who are convicted and totally 100% in. Sister Ao, Sister Maria, Sister Deborah, name a few. Brother Keith, Brother Pian, brother, the Yancey. This time I'm talking about Mr. Oh, there's some winners. There always going to be some winners, but there's going to be a whole bunch of losers. Because they're trying to conflate it, trying to mix it up. Verse 18, but I said unto the children of the wilderness, walk you not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourself with their idols. When he said don't observe their judgment, just because your mama or daddy said that they don't believe something, and that's what they used to do, or they ain't never going to change, why you even, observe me, why you even giving ear to that? You should do this when they talk like that, or that. He said, don't observe their judgment. They said their judgment sucks. He said they got piss-poor judgment. He said, why are you listening to them? What does that say about you? Verse 19, and Yahuwah said, walk in my statutes and guard my judgments and do them. And hallow my Shabbat. And that shall be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am Yahuwah. So when you keep that Shabbat, you say, no, I'm doing it because Yahuwah said to do it. So that's you saying, hey, I know who's in charge ultimately, and it ain't me. But see, when you blow off the Shabbat and blow off these commandments, you're really saying Yahuwah doesn't matter. Yeah, I know. Do you really know? Do you really know what he's going to do to you? That's all I'm saying. When you're arrogant and prideful and pompous and I ain't going to do this, I ain't going to do that, do you really know what's going to happen to you? I don't think you do, personally. I think you have no idea. Just like the book said, we have no idea of the blessings, brothers and sisters, that's coming to us. I don't think they have any idea of the horror and terror that's coming unto them. I don't think they have any idea. I think that's why they're so pompous and arrogant and so self-assured about what they're not going to do. A rebellious, stiff-necked generation, what Moses called them in the Torah. What is that? In the book of Exodus chapter 32. So these people are stiff-necked. They're rebellious. Hard-headed, you don't listen. So with their mouth they say something, but they ain't going to do it. 21, notwithstanding the children rebelled against me, and they walked not in my statutes, neither guarded my judgment to do them. Which if a man shall do, he shall be blessed in them. But they polluted my Shabbat. And then I said, I will pour out my anger upon them. A second time he said, and accomplish my anger against them in this wilderness. Then 22, he said, nevertheless, I withdrew my hand. And for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted in the sight of the heathen, in whose sight I brought them forth. So he didn't kill all of them. Just like that, he said, 1/10 will be spared. He said, I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen, and disperse them throughout the countries. That's what Deuteronomy 28:15-68 is talking about. And because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my commandments, and polluted the Shabbat, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols. They did not want to change. They respected, the wicked more than they respected the righteous. Wherefore I gave them the statutes that were not good, but judgment whereby they should not live. In other words, he said, I'm going to give you over to your own ways then. I'm going to give you the heathen's medicine. We studied that, in Jubilees chapter 10. When he had Noah, he said, Noah, you give them the poison medicine because they don't want the good stuff. He said, you save the good stuff for the righteous. He said, I'm going to give the righteous the good stuff. And I'm going to give the wicked the inferior stuff. Pharmaceuticals. Sickness that tie right into that. Verse 26, he said, and I polluted them with their own gifts. So they thought they were right, but they were wrong. So I polluted them in their own gifts, in their own ways, and caused them to pass through the fire that opens the womb. And I will make them desolate. And the end that they might know that I'm Yahuwah. He said, when I finish with you, you're going to regret the day you were born. That's what he's saying to many of you. Many of those you know. Now I said, you wait till I finish with your asses. Verse 27, therefore, son of Adam, speak unto the house of YASHAR'EL, and say unto them, thus says Yahuwah, yet your fathers have blasphemed me, and that day they committed a transgression against me. See, that's what blasphemy. Blasphemy is not calling him out of his name. Blasphemy is the fact that you're saying you don't have to do what Yahuwah says. When you're in rebellion to this Torah, you are blaspheming. And you can't be led and held accountable by the leadership that Yahuwah put in place. You are blasphemous. When you say you're going to do what you want to do, regardless of what you're told to do, you are blaspheming. Just for clarity. In case you didn't know. Which I suspect you do know what you're doing. I'm talking about the wicked brothers and sisters. The 9 out of 10. Verse 28, when I brought them into the land which I lifted up my hand to give to them, then they saw every man the high hills, the thick trees, and offered their sacrifice. In other words, they served the way they wanted. They served to their own lust. Their service to Yahuwah was based on their own lust, their own greed, their own insecurities, or their own securities. What made them feel comfortable. And Yahuwah said, that ain't going to work. Maybe working for you now, but it ain't going to work long run. He said they presented a provocation of their offerings. And there also they made the sweet sour and poured out their drink offerings. Remember I told you, you're going to take them, they want to bring Yahuwah their sour stuff and mix it in with the sweet stuff and somehow think that Yahuwah is going to accept it. He ain't accepting you in your way, mixed in with his way. That's folly. That's blasphemous. Verse 29, then I said unto them, what is the high place for where you're going? And the name thereof is called Bama. It's there to this day. Verse 30, wherefore say unto the house of YASHAR'EL, he's still telling Ezekiel, judge him. Still telling me, judge him. So wherefore say to the house of YASHAR'EL, thus says Yahuwah, are you polluted after the manner of your fathers? And you commit whoredoms after their abominations? So Yahuwah said, when you're doing what you want to do, you acting like a whore before him, brothers and sisters, male and female. You still think much of yourself now doing your thing? You still got your value system, your principle system, what you say you're going to do or not do? Who was saying, it's a question. Are you sure that you're ready for what's going to come? That wrath? That theory? He said, are you sure about this? He said, you're talking and do nothing. He said, but I am not like you. I'm going to do what I say. He said, I'm Yahuwah. I don't change. Malachi, what is that? Malachi 3:6. We'll see. Verse 31. For you offer your gifts when you make your sons pass through the fire. You pollute yourself with all your idols, even to this day. And I shall be inquired of by you, O house. So you doing what you want to do. You still think you can come pray to me? You think you can consult me doing what you want to do? I said, nah, no way. He said, you're consulting familiar spirits, thinking that's me. So you're in their cult. You're talking to the devils, and the devils are giving you all the affirmation and the confirmation and the reassurance you want. And he said, then shall I be inquired of you, O house of Yahshua? As I live, says Yahuwah, I will not be inquired by you. 32. And that which comes into my mind shall not be at all. And that which comes into your mind, shall not be at all that you say. Yeah, we will be as the heathen and as the families of the countries and serve wood and stone. Yahuwah said, yeah, I know you're going to be Christians and Muslims and everything else. He said, but that ain't, he said, you're not impressing me with that foolishness. You're losing and thinking you're winning. It's like Deuteronomy 13-14 says. So you're going to learn the ways of the nations around you. And because you think they're successful, you're going to think, if I just behave that way, or I behave the way my grandma, my grandpa, whomever, who are losers, and you're listening to losers, brothers and sisters, under the guise of, you know what I'm saying, having it your way. It's easier to get along with them than to tell them to go kiss your ass when they're out of order. What did Abraham call his father when his father, was praying to them idols? He said, Dad, you're a fool. He told him straight to his face, you're a fool. Go read about that in Joshua chapter 12. He looked him right in the face and said, you're a fool, man. And then he went told the king, you matter what, Nimrod, you are fool. Man, ain't nothing wrong with telling your folk they goddamn fools, they come at you with foolishness. What else you supposed to tell them? Verse 34, he said, I will pour out from my people, and I will gather you out of the country wherein you were scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched forth hand. This Yahuwah says, 33 says, as I live, says Yahuwah, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with the fury poured out, I will rule over you. Yahuwah said, I'm going to punish you. That's going to be my rulership. So I'm going to come at you, with a hammer and a shovel. So I'm going to bury you alive and drop fire on top of you in that grave. I don't mind dying. You mind burning in hell? Because, it's kind of a package deal. Many of you got family members dead burning in hell. Got cousins, moms, dads, they burning in hell. But don't feel too bad for them. You're going to join them soon. Because you just like them. You value their system of things instead of Yahuwah's system of things. So just give it a moment. You ain't got to be overly concerned about them. You're going to be right there burning right along with them. Verse 35, and he said, I will bring you into this wilderness of the people, and there I will plead with you face to face. And in the prophet, this is what he's telling Ezekiel to say to everybody. He's telling DFG to say it to everybody. 36 said, like I have pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness in the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, says Yahuwah. And I will cause you to pass under the rod. Now, I think y'all know what that means. Spare the rod for correction. And I will bring you into the bondage of the covenant that you decided to embrace, not his. Then I will purge out from among you the rebels. These are all of you who are rebellious. And them that transgress against me, all of you who are blasphemers. And I will bring them forth out of the country where they went. And they shall not enter to the land of YASHAR'EL. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah. In other words, they're not going to be redeemed. They're not going to be saved. And as for you, O house of YASHAR'EL, thus says Yahuwah, go, you serve everyone his idols then. Go do after you want. If you will not hearken unto me, but pollute the holy mountain, no more would He said, if you will not hearken unto me, but pollute me, my holy name, no more. He said, you will no more with your gifts and with your idols. Yahuwah said, enough is enough. So you ain't going to listen to me, but you're going to do what you want to do. And then say you listen to me at the same time. Say, no. And he kind of drops it right there, brothers and sisters. I can drop this message right here because the message is complete. But there's another little part that needs to be taught anyway, so I'm going to teach the rest of this. But the message in its entirety, the essence of this message has been taught. You better go look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself who you're going to serve, sisters and brothers. I'm just saying to you, fathers and mothers, daughters and sons. Verse 40 says this, and someone had asked this question. So this is, again, and I've already given you this information. You know who you are. He said, in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of YASHAR'EL, says Yahuwah, there shall all the house of YASHAR'EL and all them that are in the land, that means the righteous stranger too, they will serve me. And there I will accept them. And there I will require offerings and first fruits of your obligations with all of your holy things. And I will accept you with a sweet Savior. And when I bring you out from among the people and gather you out of the countries wherein you have been scattered, and you will be sanctified, you before the heathen. In other words, the heathen will see the blessings of YASHAR'EL, the righteous remnant. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah when I bring you out into the land of YASHAR'EL, into a country for which I have lifted up my hand to give it to your fathers. And there you shall remember me in your ways, and you shall do the doings, in all your doings, wherein you have been defiled. He said, you're going to stop the wickedness because none of them are going to be with us, brothers and sisters. Hallelujah. They'll be there, but they'll be burning. And you shall not shall not be sorrowful anymore in their sight for all your evils that have been committed. Yah said, I'm going to restore you like the cankerworm, the palmer worm, and the callipea, Job chapter 2. So at that point, you're no longer going to be a byword in a proverb. You're going to be a blessed people, brothers. So talking about the small righteous remnant of us who are learning our lessons, who are engaging and embracing the truth, who will put aside all of our old ways. I don't care what it used to be. There are many things, brothers and sisters, that I used to do. A lot of those things I enjoy doing. A lot of those things defined me as a man at the time. But now I realize that man, it was a piece of shit because that man was serving himself. This new man, he serves Yahuwah and Yahuwah's people. Just like he told Ezekiel, will you judge the people? Said to DFG, will you judge me? Y'all gonna write, I'm gonna judge them. I'm gonna tell them the truth, whether they like it or not. You don't like it? Go on about your business. Go where you came from. Guarantee you I ain't gonna chase you down. You ain't gotta worry about me. Shane, come back, Shane. My name ain't Shane, and you can go your head on down that road. We'll miss you till we don't miss you. 45, and moreover said the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, Son of Adam, set your face towards the south, and drop the word towards the south, and prophesy against the forest and the field of Negev. Say, tell everybody, and say unto the forest of Negev, hear the word of Yahuwah. Thus says Yahuwah, behold, I will kindle a fire in you, and it shall be devoured. It shall destroy every green tree in you, every dry tree. You know what he said? Everything that's in you that's not him, he said, I'm going to rid that from you. Hallelujah. That's what that's saying, brothers and sisters, just so you have a proper interpretation. He said, and then that flaming fire shall not be quenched, that I'm going to put in you, and all faces from the south to the north shall be burned therein. In other words, he said it's going to be pure. There's going to be a total purification of the righteous remnant. Hallelujah. And all the flesh shall see that I am Yahuwah, that have kindled that fire in us, and it shall not be quenched. Hallelujah. Then said I, Yahuwah, they say to me, does he not speak in parables? And he said, but he said, it come to me and said, I don't really understand what he means talking. He said, well, now you know. Yeah, he speaks to Ezekiel in parables, but Ezekiel or DFG takes those parables and he breaks it down and he disperses it out to each and every one of you. Hallelujah. And that has to be a calling to do that. That ain't something anybody can do. Many think they're doing it. That's why they run to the precept. Let me go get the precept. Let me go. They don't know what the hell they're doing, brothers and sisters. They're actors pretending as they know because they depend on your ignorance not to know. or your willingness to do what it is you want to do, and they just kind of acquiesce to that. They cater to your carnality. Because you think carnality is one thing, but Yahuwah says, no, it isn't. Carnality is you doing your thing. Your thing against his word. If I say do it, he said do it. He said if I want to, he said give it. Otherwise, he said, I'm done with you. So to the righteous, I love you. To the wicked, I'm done with you. Shalom, YASHAR'EL.